wanted to do a little bit of research into cartel killings. To be quite honest, I have already done a little bit. And what I found, because I had wondered about cartel involvement, and I was desperately trying to find, because I wanted to be vindicated, I was desperately trying to find at the time, this was over a month or two ago, that murders, that the cartel might go to somebody's house and commit a murder. And there's no doubt they would commit murders of the nature, I mean, we don't know the details, but, you know, stabbings, beheadings is one thing, isn't it? Knives are involved, yeah, no doubt. But I have not found anything where they've entered somebody's home. They've usually taken people somewhere. And anyway, I thought, well, I'll have another look. And if I still find the same thing, I'll show it to you folks. And I actually have come across this. Now, if you're in the USA, you might already be aware of it. And I'm not following any news, so even if this had happened in the UK, I wouldn't have a clue until now. So this is about students, and 5 students this time, and they're murdered by Mexican hotel and beaten, but they were taken. They were lured to Mexico. And with fake job offers, interesting, between the ages of 19 and 22, and I'll read the rest. So the 5 young men who went missing in Mexico and were later shown, now hold on, I don't know if they are Mexican, they went missing in Mexico, bear with, because I haven't got that far. And were later shown on camera being brutally murdered by Mexican drug cartel, were lured to meet the gang with a fake job offer, according to a report. The young men, all students and friends, whose ages ranged between 19 and 22, who were duct-taped, beaten, stabbed and beheaded in a horrifically graphic video that made its rounds online this week, sought employment as private security, met a contact in town and were not seen again until the video surfaced, according to Elle Universal. So used to talking about universities. According to Elle Universal, journalist Carlos Arrieta, so it sounds like these people were Mexican nationals, and that's another thing. I mean, no doubt Americans are murdered by cartel, but it's much more likely to happen to Mexicans in Mexico. According to Elle Universal journalist, as I said, Carlos Arrieta, the men were deceived into a meeting with the Jalisco Nueva Generation, CJNG cartel. The cartel hoped to recruit the victims into their ranks and killed them after they refused. The men were later identified by their relatives as Robert Olmedo, Diego Lara, definitely Mexican names, or South American at least, Uriel Galvan, Jamie Martinez and Dante Cedillo, LP reported. Elle Universal reported the strongest hypothesis pointed to the young men contacting a call centre to gain employment. Unbeknownst to the friends, the centre is often managed by the CJNG for the forced recruitment of people, the outlet reported. And Shanquella Robinson, when was that? Because that was Mexico, I believe. Shanquella Robinson. American businesswoman. I've paid you before, Wiki. In fact, I think I might give a monthly amount to you. So, Shanquella Robinson was an American businesswoman, founder of a women's fashion clothing line, hairstylist, and social media personality from North Carolina, United States, who was murdered while on vacation in Mexico. This murder was filmed also. Nobody stepped in. She was beaten. She died on October the 29th. So, I mean, it's only a couple of weeks before. Shortly after travelling with a friend. I mean, could that have been the same sort of situation? And, we know that Kaylee was supposed to be following a job opportunity, and a group of loose acquaintances to the Mexican resort town. I mean, that's Texas. It's not that far to go over the border. You get lured down to Texas. Then could you get lured on? Once you've got into the spirit of things, to the Mexican resort town of Cabo San Lucas. There was considerable public interest and intrigue surrounding the cause of her death. In addition, substantial collaborative efforts of citizen journalism. I seem like I've done an about turn, don't I? But for it to then happen in the house, I don't know. It doesn't seem to be something that I've come across, but I am going to research further. An amateur news bloggers played an important role in bringing attention to Robinson's death to the point of Mexican authorities. Amateur news bloggers. Citizen journalism. To the point of Mexican authorities facing enhanced scrutiny, particularly because the municipal police department initially treated the death as a case of conventional tourist alcohol intoxication. A video later surfaced which showed Robinson being attacked in a rental villa prior to her death. The circumstances leading to her mysterious death, as well as the medical treatment police report and forensic inquiries into the cause of her untimely passing, have led to an ongoing high-profile transnational criminal investigation within the United States and America. Okay, they commented on the 16th, the US Department of State. Local journalists first reporting on this case. Gerardo Zuniga, a Mexican journalist for regional news from Baja California, began covering the murder of Shanquella Robinson after having published an article which looked into the death of an American 73-year-old retiree, Rodney Davis, who was kidnapped while hiking and camping on the out and back trail of Loreto, Juncalito, Baja California Sur. Murdered, found dead and identified through DNA by police. Interesting, it's got California link here as well. And as we know, the Gonsalveses are from California. In mid-November 2022, Mexican journalists covering that case were tipped off by local police that another American tourist, Shanquella Robinson, had been killed 4 days after Rodney Davis was murdered, and started hearing rumours about a video of the incident being shared among Winston-Salem students. God, it's crazy, isn't it? They're just sharing a video of a murder. Beginning with a video of the incident being uploaded, but then again, I don't think they know who to trust over there in terms of police. Beginning with the video of the incident being uploaded to Twitter, a wave of viral cell phone footage began surfacing on several social media outlets of a naked African-American woman being viciously beaten by one of her female acquaintances in a bedroom of their vacation rental. Salamandra Robinson confirmed that it was her daughter being beaten in the video. Jesus, imagine seeing that. It doesn't bear thinking about. In the video, an attacker in frenzied rage begins to viciously punch Robinson, lobbing a series of relentless fist jabs to her head, beating her with one side of a large hotel bed. Oh, from one side. I thought that's no mean feat. To another corner of the bed while violently yanking her neck, throwing the victim onto the floor, delivering further furious blows to her face and kicking her head with her knee before stumbling back to the other side of the room, ending her assault on Robinson. There were at least 2 other people present during the altercation. A male filmed the assault and another person filmed the male capturing the event. What the fuck? The footage included a male who can be heard recommending to Robinson, Quaya, can you at least fight back, at least something? To which Robinson responded no, indicating that she was not interested in fighting. The video, or maybe it was supposed to be some kind of fight, like people are talking about this fight club thing. It was supposed to be entertainment, and that's what they were demanding from her. The video, which was received with shock, incredulity and revulsion on social media networks, subsequently raised questions about why not only nobody intervened in the beating of a naked friend, certainly most noteworthy the brutal beating of a naked woman in the middle of a hotel room, but instead chose to record the beating on a cell phone. Because I think they were making money out of it. Voices in the media have also called into question why suspects or witnesses in a femicide or homicide, that femicide in Mexico is off the scale. It's absolutely mental. Were freely allowed to return to the United States without any arrest or interrogation. Shit. I think I've actually read this before, but it's even shocking a second time. It's mad, isn't it? I'll put this into the description. FBI investigation. So on April the 12th of this year, US authorities announced they will not pursue criminal charges. Fuck off. That's absolutely insane. Our investigation is completely separate from Mexico. I am not privy to anything they are doing. We'll find out. She's an American citizen. Criminal charge of femicide. So on November 23rd, announced an arrest court order relating to femicide had been issued against a person identified as American. Issuing an Interpol red alert to locate the suspect in the United States. This is insane. People should be in uproar about this. You know, like, it pisses me off because, you know, at the time when we were all prepared, when we were all at home and we cared about a man having his neck knelt on in the street, in public, in full view of all the people in the street, in broad daylight, and now we just don't give a shit. We just got oh, you know, we were all going to care so much before. Nobody gives a shit anymore. This is a crying shame. Right. But I do need to get back to where we were, and that is worth bearing in mind. So there was a guy before Shanquella Robinson, Rodney somebody, 50-ish-year-old guy, was he? I'll note those details. I'm just loosely, don't quote me on those details, but that's something to note. However, these things happened in Mexico. Could there be a link in the sense that Kaylee appeared to be starting a new job and being right down in Texas, Houston, and I mean, we know that's not far from the border. I don't know. Be interesting to look into Extreme Networks and see where they have offices actually. Oh, Jesus. Pure MZ. On Wednesday afternoon, Mexican authorities located the property where the photo and video were allegedly filmed and found 4 burned and decapitated bodies. See, that's another thing. They've burned the bodies. The bodies were badly burned and had not yet been identified. Bodies were found. I mean, look at the buildings as well. It's like they take them to abandoned, deserted, isolated areas. And that seems to be the case from lots of cases that I've seen. Brick and concrete buildings on a ranch, isolated by an open field. They also showed bloodstains on the floor, shoes scattered about, and investigators examining the area. This makes one think the 5 youths were there at this ranch, the state prosecutor's office said. The young men went missing Friday while on a trip to attend a festival in the city of Lagos de Moreno, an area known for cartel violence. They were next seen bound by tape, Jesus Christ, kneeling. Oh, excuse my blasphemy. Apologies for those that I'll try and watch my P's and Q's. They were next seen bound by tape, kneeling on the ground and surrounded by gang members, with one of them seen bludgeoning and apparently decapitating his friend. Jeez. It revives memories of the most horrifying instances of drug cartel brutality, where kidnapped victims were forced to fight and even kill each other in gruesome ways. Well, could that have been what was happening with Shanquella Robinson? In 2010, the old Zetas cartel abducted men and forced any who refused to work for the cartel to beat each other to death with sledgehammers. Jesus, sorry, I've done it again. The following year, authorities found 48 clandestine graves containing the bodies of 193 people in the northern border state of Tamaulipas. Most had their skulls crushed with sledgehammers. Man, I don't appreciate that. What are you trying to say? Well, right. Going to, every time I'm supposed to be focusing on one thing. This is not what I'm supposed to be focusing on, and I just I can't listen to anybody else's videos anymore, because every time I do, I'm like, oh, that's an interesting thing to look at, and I'm like distracted from what I'm actually looking at, and I am gathered God knows how much stuff, but I just want to get it all together and put it out a lot out at the same time, and there's a reason for that, which I cannot currently disclose. So I thought I'd quickly do this anyway, because I just love researching. It's just my favourite thing to do, and I just love looking into different things. This is fascinating and horrifying at the same time. But it happened in Mexico, in an abandoned, isolated building. Which is very different, and I just haven't seen, and there's a first time for everything, but I haven't seen any crimes by the cartel, well, any known crimes where they've gone into an area like this is Middle America, suburban area. It's suburban, but also like full of students. It was a busy night. It seems, I just feel like if it was Cartel, it wouldn't be happening in their house, and it wouldn't be happening in Linda Lane. It would be happening somewhere. There's some woods there. That would be a better idea. But I think it'd be happening somewhere where they're more confident, because just like serial killers, and in the way Cartel are, they are serial killing. They are doing it over and over again, and they take their prey to somewhere that they are comfortable with, where they know what to expect, where they can fully plan the crime itself and what happens afterwards. This is my misgiving. I mean, I'm not discounting anything, but this is my misgivings. These are my misgivings with this, but it is interesting because of the fact that they're students, and because of what happened with Shanquella Robinson, and because of Kaylee and the job thing. So I'm just going to leave that there and carry on with what I was doing and resist further research at this moment.